Now, moving on. A team that has been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons all year long are the New York Rangers.
Man.
Now,
bad to worse.
This starts from a tweet from the New York Post's Molly Walker. And she said, Calvin Haan walked past us as he was about to get on the ice and commented on how it's all finally over. He said something to the effect of, how about the way I've been treated here? It's effed. Well, I can say it. It's fucked, is what he said. We asked if he wanted to talk, and he said yes, that would be, quote, that he would be, quote, very transparent. After coming off the ice and having a conversation with New York Rangers PR, Haan decided he wanted to wait until the end of the season so he could get more information. Yeah, that's right. Molly says, I confirmed it was his decision, and he said yes, but it was clear the Blue Shirts did not want him to talk. Now, Calvin Haan then tweeted about it. Because, listen, that's a big freaking story. No matter what market you're in, that's big.
Well, a guy who's been in the league for a long time, too. 679 games.
I know.
Where does the time go? I covered him with the Gens. Where does the time go?
Calvin Haan said this on Twitter after the game. He said, going to get ahead of this now, I was hoping that I would be able to express in a scrum setting versus a quote that was going to go on to the ice and having it on the internet 30 seconds later. I said what I said because I am frustrated, and any competitor who says they would be happy in this position would be lying to you. After playing 3 games for the team and going 2-0-1, I thought maybe I would have the opportunity to jump into the lineup and help win more games. Did I help those games in those games that I played? Maybe, maybe not. But we still won and collected some crucial points to climb in the standings. I understand the youth movement in the NHL, and I'm getting older in hockey years, and I may not play every single night. I feel like I can still contribute and help teams win. I know I'm not going to play 20 minutes a night in the role I've been in the past few years, but again, I feel like I can still keep up and help its team in certain facets of the game. I'm not trying to be the villain or gain attention or throw shade at the organization. I would have preferred a scrum setting to chat about how my time with the Rangers has gone. As a player, you have to respect the lineup decisions, whether you like them or not. It's just been frustrating not being able to compete and do what I love to do. I hope everyone understands.
Now, just looking at his 3 games with the Rangers, I could see why he would think he deserves this. In his first game with the Rangers, he had an assist, was a +1. He did take a penalty. The next game, he's a +2, and he's a +1 again. So he's a plus in every game he's played with the Rangers, which is not something a lot of Rangers can boast about. 16 minutes, 26 seconds, 16 minutes, 52 seconds, and 14-14, which isn't that much. But I could see why he thinks he's done pretty well.
Yes.
But, now, I mean, well enough to play more than 3 games. His last game was March 5th.
Now, he came over from the Avalanche in that trade with Ryan Lindgren, right?
Yes.
And I think it's brought up some things that, coupled with Gabriel Perreault sitting, Jimmy Vesey sitting.
I don't understand that
at all. A few players have been a little bit pissed about how the Rangers have sort of deployed them this year. And this goes way back because the reality of it is that people even dug up stuff on Vitaly Kravtsov and Chris Drury and things that happened. And remember, Kravtsov was a 9th overall pick in 2018.
Yes, he was.
According to multiple league sources, the friction between Kravtsov and Drury dates back to October 2019. Kravtsov didn't make the Rangers out of camp as a 19-year-old and didn't enjoy his first day at AHL Hartford. He exercised the out clause in his contract to return to the KHL, where he'd played the 2 prior seasons. Sources say that when Kravtsov went to retrieve his gear and say goodbye to the Wolfpack, Drury told Kravtsov that he'd quit on the team. Kravtsov would ultimately return to the organization and to Hartford less than 2 months later after a mediocre KHL stint. He joined the Rangers in the bubble for the team's brief 2020 appearance. And again, multiple sources said there was an incident between Kravtsov and Drury in which the young forward was dressed down by the then assistant GM for not working hard enough. That happened on the ice in full view of teammates, and Kravtsov right now has played the last time he played in the NHL, he played 16 games for the Vancouver Canucks in 22-23.
He did have another opportunity with the Canucks, like you just mentioned, and it didn't go great, but I'm just looking at his KHL numbers.
Are they good?
This guy's kicking ass over there, dude. 27 goals, which is leads his team, 31 assists, 58 points, which is second on his team in 66 games. That is, and 4 penalty minutes? Mm-hmm. How do you even pull that off? No, that's, I wonder, who knows? Maybe he could come back to North America.
Capo Caco in the past has noted the Rangers' tendency to pick a young player out of the lineup. That happened earlier this year before he was traded. Zach Jones said he felt like he was rotting away because he was constantly taken out of the lineup. Jimmy Vesey said he felt like he was dying due to being taken out of the lineup consistently. Now, I will say this. Jimmy Vesey saying that, I don't blame him. If you're a competitor and you think you can help the team and you're not playing, you're probably going to feel like you're dying.
29 points in 48 games for Capo Caco since going to Seattle. Not a world beater, but that's a valuable player.
So let me ask you this. We talked about this last week. Is Peter Laviolette done? It feels like he is. Jesse, when you see this and you see the Rangers and how they've rearranged things, because obviously they wanted to get younger and then they got a little older, and then they moved something. Is this ultimately a team that gets back to close to President's Trophy form next year and this season was just an outlier? Or is this team fundamentally broken as long as Laviolette's coach?
Yeah, I don't think Laviolette's long for New York. I think this tenure that he's had as head coach of the Rangers is kind of a speed run of how his career has gone, because this time I think it'll only last 2 seasons, but he usually has a great peak at the beginning of his tenure with whatever team, and then very soon after that peak, he misses the playoffs and he gets fired. It happened in Nashville, I think his longest tenure, where they went to the Stanley Cup final. Great. Couple of years later, I think he lasted like 3 seasons after that, gets fired. He won the Stanley Cup with Carolina, did not last long after winning that Stanley Cup in Carolina. He won it, missed playoffs the next season, the year after, and then was eventually fired. His tenure in Philly, it started with the Stanley Cup finals, and then after that, losing conference semifinals, misses the playoffs, and then he's gone. As soon as there is trouble, he is gone.
Yeah.
He never stays through the trouble. You know those long tenured coaches?
Yes.
Like if Paul Maurice and the Florida Panthers this season missed the playoffs, they're not talking about firing Paul Maurice because you trust him. He's going to be there a long time, the same way in Winnipeg where he's there through the whole tenure. You can trust certain coaches to run with you through the good times and the bad. And Pierre Laviolette has never been a bad times coach. He's a good times coach.
Damn.
And this right now is a bad time for the New York Rangers. We talked early on in this season about how it was you're going this way or going that way season. You got to pick a lane because of all the contracts that were expiring, how long you've had this core, and all the money that's going to come up available and all the contracts you got to sign. They've picked a couple different lanes here with the guys they've kept and the guys they've brought in, like JT Miller and the other guys they've moved out on the defense and the back end. So they've picked a lane here with the core who's going to get another head coach. I don't love that. Like Zibanejad and them, they're getting their 3rd or 4th head coach, depending on how long they've been here.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, because I think they might just blow that roster to smithereens.
Right. Well, yeah, if the guys who stick around who've been here for that long, like they're going to get another head coach, which isn't great. But it seems like because it's bad times and Laviolette can't coach through them, that it's time to let him go.
If you've been a Ranger since 2018, so a Chris Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, I believe, those guys.
Yep.
Alan Vigneault, David Quinn, Gerard Gallant, Peter Laviolette.
Yeah.
At a certain now. They won 2 President's Trophy. Well, one in 2015, one in 2024.
Can you say all those names again?
David Quinn. Sorry, Alan Vigneault, David Quinn, Gerard Gallant, Peter Laviolette. Alan Vigneault lasted about 5 years. So,
well, none of the other 3 are head coaches in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to look at it. So are we questioning the people who are hiring these head coaches? Are we questioning the players who are going to get their 5th head coach? The Trocheks, the Panarins, the Kreiders. You're getting 5 head coaches, and you haven't won a championship for us. You've gone deep in the playoffs. You won the President's Trophy, but like championships is what it's about. Yeah. Whose problem is this?
I think there's room. There's room for everybody. I mean, Laviolette. He's treated this stretch like John Tortorella in Philly. He just didn't have the quote.
Yeah.
And also a major public blow up with a player, or wasn't public.
He's quit.
Got out there.
Yes.
Yeah. He's done. But like the players have been done at different times this season. When I look at the Rangers, so I'm trying to go, what team that got out of it could the Rangers look to try to emulate? And the first team that comes to mind is the Winnipeg Jets of 2 or 3 years ago. They were miserable. They were sad sack.
Remember Mark Scheifele's end of season press conference?
Oh,
I don't even know if I'm going to be here.
dude, I
like his
can't
eyebrows
believe
were-
he's still there.
Yeah, his eyebrows were at the top of his forehead. He was so mad.
Cannot believe he's still there. And they just won the President's Trophy. They locked it up,
Yeah.
right? They needed the reset of the offseason. Maybe that helps the Rangers. Here's where that is not an apples to apples comparison. The Rangers are, I think, older, or at least the major components of the roster are older than the Jets were. The Jets did make, like they got rid of Blake Wheeler. Ironically, he went to the Rangers. So there was that. Also, the Rangers don't operate like the Jets at all. The Jets are agonizing patience because they're a smaller market team. They struggle to get guys to come. They struggle to get guys
Unfavorable
to
weather
stay.
conditions versus
Yes.
Florida.
Well, and then there's New York, which isn't exactly known for its beaches, but
It's New York.
it's New York, and they'll spend the money, and their owner's nuts, and will, there's no, the patience that exists in Winnipeg does not exist in New York, right? So it'd be great if they operated the way the Jets did a couple years ago. It's just not going to happen, I don't think.
Okay. All right. Well, it'll be fascinating to see what happens. I think, we're going to know by Saturday whether Laviolette's coach. Probably Friday morning. I mean,
He's going to get fired before they drop the puck for the playoffs.